All right, hey, what's up everybody? Jesse here, and I just got back from a charter out in the Chesapeake Bay with some clients. Had an excellent morning actually. And one of my recent questions that was posed to me in my Ask Me a Question video I did was, videos about boat care and maintenance. My bulldog just joined me down here. Say hey, Millie. Anyway, I want to give you a run through what I do when I get home with my boat. It's really nothing special, but they asked, so I'm just going to show it. And to be honest, there are actually two different versions of this. This is the kind of the full clean version of when I come home and I don't have another trip like first thing tomorrow morning. Because honestly, when I get back late evenings, it's like 8:30, 9 o'clock, and the boat gets what I call the quick version of this, which is where I just hose everything down. I rinse the motor down. I just flush the motor through the flush port in the back versus running it, because it's usually late at night and I don't want to disturb all my neighbors. And just clean the boat up the best I can to get it ready to go back out the next morning. So that's the quick version. This is the more thorough one. So I'm going to start with the motor first, of course, and just to show you what I've got going on. All right, if you look, you can see I have a mixing device set up and ready to go through the headphone attachment, which I always recommend using because it gets water throughout the entire engine instead of, the flush port, which doesn't do that because of the thermostat being closed. So I'm going to start the motor, run it with just straight water first, which this cup can do just by turning it to that. Go ahead and turn this on, get the water flowing, start it up, and then let it sit here for about, 5 minutes or so and warm up. That way, coolant's getting through the entire engine. So I'm going to do that. Make sure there's water coming out of the P port, and yep, there is. Right now I'm currently using this boat desalt formula that was sent to me by a Better Boat Company to try for free. It's quite a large bottle of it. It seems to work fine for the best I can tell. And honestly, there's a little bit of controversy over this stuff because I did a salt away video years ago and I've got a lot of comments about how this stuff doesn't do anything. And to be honest with you, I don't know one way or another, but I don't really know how to test that. So if anybody has any input on that, just let me know. I would be curious to see if this is just a waste of time versus straight water or not. It's one of those things with a $20,000 motor. I mean, can it hurt? All right, it's been about 5 minutes now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this real quick to the salt away. Just like that, and you see it's mixing, and it's going to start coming through the motor, making suds out here. And what we'll do is let it run until that runs clear, pretty much. I only use about a half a cup when I do it in there. It seems to be plenty, and honestly, for it to run clear, when I tried to do a full cup, the motor overheated on me because the cooling it like this isn't enough to actually keep it completely cool. So I do a half a cup, it seems to work fine. So I'm gonna let that complete, and then we'll move on to the next step. All right, y'all, the motor just finished. As far as the inside, it's good to go. Now it's time to clean everything else. So what I went ahead and did is hopped in the boat with a 5-gallon bucket, got all the trash out, went ahead and threw all that away. I also have this cup here that I keep on the boat anytime I'm out, and any jigs, lures, or anything like that I use and take off during the day, I'll throw into this. And this is just fresh water with a few drops of that desalt mixed in it. And honestly, even if you don't use the desalt, this is definitely a good thing to do because it really cuts down on the rusting that you'll see on jigs when you use them in salt water. I definitely recommend that. As far as the boat itself, Starbright deck cleaner is what I use pretty much. Have for years. It seems to be the best thing. Just put it in a little spray bottle like this, do certain, like the front deck, wet it, a few squirts of this. And honestly, that little bit in there is enough to clean the whole deck of this boat. And as far as the brush that I use, I've tried a lot through the years. What I always end up falling back to is this like window cleaning brush, I think it is, that you can get at Lowe's. Or at least it's in the section where they sell like the window squeegees and stuff, just on a little handle. And this is what I use for the whole deck of the boat and the whole outside of the boat and trailer and everything. It works really good. I actually have two of them. One I use for the inside and outside of the boat, and then a separate one that I use for the trailer and the tires and everything. And I got two little stiff brushes here for all the stubborn spots. That's my general maintenance on the boat. Occasionally I'll do, even though it's probably not good for it, like a Dawn and bleach mixture like once a season to get it back white, but that's a whole nother thing. Now to show you what I got over here, the cooler I had to get out. I've already rinsed it out good because it was full of blood and nastiness. I just used bleach to clean it, which it's still working right now. Oh yeah, and I'm still using the Cooler Shock ice packs. I've got 4 of these that I've had for about 5 years now, and they've taken a beating. This is the little sleeves they come in, but they still work, and they've been out since 4 a.m. this morning, and there's still solid blocks of ice in there. For the money, you can't beat them, honestly. It's a better alternative than ice, I think. And the only other thing I have here is the mop. As far as when I'm out on the water, I found that just these regular mops that you get from like Lowe's or Walmart is what I use. I've already rinsed this out really good with just a water hose, and now I've got it sitting in some bleach just to get the funk out of it. And it's just great for dipping in the water wiping the deck down when you get a mess. You can wring it out and just set it to the side. It works really good. I think it does anyway. I also have all my rods and reels set out here that were used over the past day and a half. And what I'll do is just wet these with some regular water. Then I'll spray them down with just this pump sprayer here. And this is just a slight mixture of Simple Green. You know, let it sit for a few minutes and then just rinse them off real good. And that really seems to help keep the rods clean and the lines running smoother. So I got the cooler clean. I did want to add one thing, that these little utility stands from Harbor Freight here are freaking awesome for stuff like this. These pretty much sit outside or just inside my shop throughout the season, so I can just bring them out and do all of this real quick. I've already soaked these up and rinsed them down. They're drying. And I did want to add one other thing. I've just kind of been wetting the boat as I've been doing all of this over here, just to get everything up here softening up. Really started using my power wash down that I have a lot more out on the water, instead of just using the mop all the time, just to help keep things wet as we're fishing, especially if we're catching a lot of fish, to keep the slime rinsed out. And it really does seem to help speed up this cleanup process at the end of the day. All right, so I just finished scrubbing the whole deck down. One thing I do that might be a little bit different is I don't do a final rinse on it until the whole thing is complete. So basically I'll do one section at a time, and I just kind of keep misting it to let the soap do as much work as it can. And then once I get everything scrubbed, then I'll come back and I'll do a final rinse down. I don't know if it makes a difference, but it's just how I do things. So that's what I'm doing now. All right, y'all, I got it pretty much all done. It's been probably about an hour and a half total. As you see, I got the deck fairly clean. I mean, it's not perfect, but it's good for a weekly cleaning. I got all the hatches propped open so they can air out and dry. Got the mop rinsed out up there drying. I went ahead and cleaned the motor with the brush and a little bit of soap that I had, and all of the stuff back here really good. I would normally do the actual hull itself and the trailer with some like car wash concentrate like we would use on our vehicles, but I'm actually out right now, so it pretty much just got a really thorough rinsing. And the scum line I just hit with a brush, and I just brushed the tires and the rims, you know, with some bleach white. And as you can see, my rims have really taken a beating, the one with the brake especially, and my brakes are actually in pretty bad shape. I'm gonna have to address them this summer for sure. So far, I haven't really had any issues with the trailer other than just occasional electrical issues, and it's mainly the butt connectors failing, and I just have to resplice it. The lights themselves have been fine, but that's pretty much everything, you know, on a weekly basis that I do minimum. If I can squeeze an extra one in, I always will. The quick cleans, of course, in between trips when they're consecutive, which is mainly focusing on flushing the motor and just making it as presentable as possible for the next day. So anyway, I'm gonna let all this stuff dry, put it all up, call it a day. So that's pretty much my routine, and I'll get into some more videos doing maintenance on like the brakes and stuff, you know, down the road. So that's it for today. Peace out. See y'all soon.